Welcome back. You're here. Well, if you remember, our solitude, our beautiful home, the frame was spent. If you don't remember that, you might want to check out our, which episode is that?
I don't remember, but it'll be up there.
Okay. So our frame was bent, and then we decided to come to California without an RV because that's what you do in LA. There's not a lot of places to go, but we had to move on with our adventure. But we're thinking about changing things up, getting another rig. We're excited to get back out into the wild. So this is part of that journey. Today, we get to drive.
Yeah, first time test driving some Class A's.
Test drive a motorhome.
Yeah.
Now, we're excited about the Class A's just because we would get to drive together and all the kids would have a little bit more room. We know that there's a lot of downs. We know that there's a lot of, pros and cons to all kinds. You just have to find what works for your family. Maybe we'll do a video about that later. But today, we're just kind of dreaming.
Today we get to test drive a Challenger. So we're going to a dealership and looking at a couple Thors. We think we have our selection down to 2. And we get to test drive. We've got an appointment today to test drive one of those. So if you didn't see our RV Class A tours, check out that episode, link above. Today we're going to test drive a rig that's just under 40 feet. And it's the floor plan that we are pretty solid on. So we're pumped. You ready for this?
I'm ready. You're not going to make me drive, are you? In all fairness, this is probably going to be way easier to drive than a fifth wheel.
Yeah. Well, you're right. It's not as tough because when you have a truck and a fifth wheel and you turn, it's totally different,
Right.
But we've never driven a Class A, so it's going to be a learning experience. Who's ready for a test drive?
Oh, we're moving. Just started moving.
We're grateful to our salesman who knew just what to focus on.
He knew everything.
Well, it was obvious it wasn't his first test drive because when you get inside one of these things and you start driving it, it's your first time, things start going through your head, like your awareness of your rig and your angles and how deep you are and where am I going to hit that? And he knew exactly. So he started with mirrors and all that right out of the parking lot.
He knew exactly how to kind of guide a brand new driver.
So your lower mirror is more of a bubble and gives you a wide angle?
It gives you lower and wide angle. So
Lower.
what I want you to do is I want you to look at this island right there. If I keep cranking it, I can keep cranking it. If you look right about there, that's going to be me pretty much almost rubbing it. So if you think you're going to rub the curb, you go a little bit straighter, and then crank it hard again. There's no point in being in a rush.
Right. The rig comes with a dash which shows what you see on your side cameras. That wasn't functioning on this test drive.
Oh, yeah.
But the mirrors were super helpful to imagine being full-time.
I actually don't use this as much for the side views, but if it's like real much a lot of traffic, I will use it because it helps with some of the blind spots I can't see. Your passenger will also be a big help because you can't see directly.
Right.
Driving this motorhome was way different than I imagined. It's actually very receptive to your, I was expecting it to be, laggy or slow in stopping, and it wasn't at all. Again, not that I will be driving. Just want to make that clear. Crystal clear.
This coach is just under 40 feet, and we used to be about 62 feet long driving a fifth wheel. So not nearly as long, but you sit up high, so all the angles are different. It's a totally different feeling.
You really need to watch, as you're turning, just your midsection, so you're not catching anything.
Right.
And you have to really look at both mirrors. You really need to watch what's in your route because you can take something out. It's a bus.
You see where the line's at?
Yeah.
As soon as you basically hit shoulder,
that's when you turn.
you can start turning hard. You can probably see in the lower mirror, I just was on the red line, and look how easy it goes right into the line of the spot.
Right. Yeah, I found it really helpful when he was showing us like exactly what was lined up with your shoulder and when to start turning the wheel. Like that visualization was super helpful. And then when he was talking about like the curbs and getting the feel for where your tires are, all that was like right in my wheelhouse. That was all the things I was worried about going into it. So that
you
was
feel
really,
better.
I do.
Good.
Yeah.
Starting off, you'll want to go shoulders out. That curb now is hitting my shoulders.
Ah, okay. So when the curb reaches your shoulder, that's when you...
Yep, and you can see I'm close to the curb.
Yeah.
And then I go.
Got it.
Our salesman really took the time. I mean, he took us out on probably a 30-minute drive, which was fantastic. He talked about hugging the right side of the road and just kind of imagining that line, because in truth, your wheels are on the road in a very different place than the end of your vehicle. So you have to kind of make that imaginary line instead of looking at your left side. It's really, you have to get used to it.
You know how when you drive a car, you always want to be closest to the inside?
Yeah.
Motorhome, you want to be closest to the outside.
As in the curb?
As in the lines.
Oh,
or the curb, depending on which one you're at. Over here, there's curb, there's trees, there's things that if you hit it, it's not going to move even if you're in the way. Driving on this line, for me, he who has bigger lug nuts always wins. They're going to move if you need to shift over to there.
Right. If we were turning right here, I mean, we're in the middle lane, but if we were turning right, you would get your left wheels up as close to the middle dotted white line as possible.
Yep.
And if we were turning left here, you would get your right tire lined up as close to the right dotted lines as possible.
Exactly.
Okay, got it.
Right now, this is the worst it's going to drive and be the bounciest it's going to be.
Because?
It's empty.
Oh.
You're on heavy duty suspension. You're completely empty.
Got it.
And like a pickup truck, I don't know if you've ever driven a pickup truck.
Yep.
When they're loaded, they drive better. Well,
Right.
You had a fifth wheel.
Right.
When you were just driving the truck normal, it was like this.
It's true. It's true.
As soon as you had that fifth wheel in there, it felt more
Flattens, because the suspension's meant to hold all that weight. Yeah.
Exactly.
How's it riding back there? Bumpy or smooth?
Bumpy. It's okay. It's not bumpy. It's not super bumpy. It's pretty good.
Imagine if you had another turn lane right here.
Yeah.
So this one, you have to imagine an imaginary line curving.
From the whole lane.
This lane to that lane.
You have to imagine a lane
and
connecting.
you have to just kind of
hug the outer.
And again, if you cut it a little too short, you do go out a little bit.
In that one turn, he said, imagine white lines painted all the way out into the intersection. Some places they are, but having that in your head as you're turning helps you not hit the curb. Another part that helped us imagine being full-time was seeing how our kids were inside the coach.
Yeah, we definitely wanted to take our kids on this trial run. Whether it's the rig first or not, we don't know how they're going to react to being in a moving vehicle and not being totally strapped. I mean, they're strapped in, but it's just they have so much more space than they're used to.
Right.
And we were afraid that Mercy would be freaking out a little bit. She's a little bit sensitive to this speed.
She did great,
Just
though.
like our mama. Yeah. She did great. She was like, woohoo, wee.
Are you glad that he made you drive? Because you didn't want to drive.
So this is, I don't know if you caught it on film, but I was like, he just insisted. Like I said no several times. And he's like, no, you have to do it. And I said, I think you overestimate my interest in this subject. I don't have any interest. If my husband has a heart attack, we're just going to go off the side of the road. I'm not going to grab the wheel. It's over. Because actually I am glad. Because it's not as scary as I thought. And if I'm not comfortable doing something, I'll just stop.
Bottom here is going to let you see basically from just past your shoulders to just past the bathroom. Go ahead and pick up a little bit of speed, and then I want you to kind of get used to the brakes. So as soon as you hit there, just go ahead and start braking. And go ahead and start braking just so you can kind of get used to it.
Whoa.
Stop it. No, I don't want to brake hard.
But we live in California, people brake in front of you for no reason.
Exactly.
Yeah. Let me find a place with no cars and no people and no chance of interacting with the public.
Perfect.
Now,
Perfect.
just turn the wheel left. I'll be back in 10 minutes. There you did a test drive.
He was like, no, just keep on going around.
This isn't Disney World. What are we doing here? Yep, seems to turn to the left just fine.
It's perfect.
Go ahead and brake right about there. How close do you think you are to where the curb would be?
I think I'm probably, it feels like I'm right on it.
I guess we want to talk about the nose, not the tire. The nose is probably over the curb.
So your nose is over the curb, like
There's no
that's what I
curb.
kind of wanted to point out. Your tires wouldn't be touching right now. If you're doing the left turns, just like a normal turning area, there's two things you want to watch for. You're going to want to watch your lower left, if you're making a left, and your back right.
Okay.
If you're doing a turn and you have someone here, you have to watch what you're going to hit right here, and you got to make sure your tail's not going to go over into this.
So lower left, upper right.
Exactly.
Just like back straight
Yep.
up into like just straight, like parallel with the.
Right.
Go along with the bend if you want.
I know. I'm not.
But make sure you get closer to the curb, like you're actually going to park. And the only reason I'm doing this is because you're completely safe. You can't hurt anything right now.
I know. I think maybe you overestimate
No.
how
See,
much involvement I want in this whole thing.
like, here's the thing. Let's say you guys have to get somewhere and he's sick and you have to drive.
Yeah, true. I know.
Now start turning in to your right. You're the right. You're okay. And perfect. Go ahead and put it in park real quick. And take a look how you did outside.
So you don't want to be too close because you got to have them out.
Right.
Yeah, sorry.
Oh yeah, you did great.
We had a blast. It is so much fun to dream about the next step in our journey.
Yeah.
We are surprised at the fact that we actually still want to do this. So we'll see.
Yeah.
Hopefully in the next month or so, we will have some news, some traction, some movement on that. This week, we also did something that was kind of on our bucket list, and it's open. Yay. Things are opening back up again. So we noticed Mel's Diner. There's several of them here, but you know that is a Route 66 LA iconic place, is Mel's Dine-In. So we decided to take the family and just get out.
We thought about eating curbside, but when we got there and realized the business was open, we were like, we got to go in, see people.
Yes. We took the place over, as you can imagine.
Yeah.
And the kids had a blast. The food was great. And it was just a really cool place. I would love to see one in St. Louis on Watson, Route 66. That would be so cool.
Now, we haven't had a cheeseburger in a very long time, so it probably tasted better than what
it
it
could
really
have been
was.
terrible, but
Yeah.
we were like, oh my gosh, this is the best thing
Is that a
ever.
French fry? Dipped in ice cream?
We split one.
Can I have the cherry? Can I take it off for you?
You can.
You can.
You can have the cherry. I just don't like the cherry. Mercy, take it in. And eat it. It's melting.
It's okay, you can lick it.
She's like, wait, anyway.
You can eat it.
The kids had a lot of fun. The vibe was cool.
Mhm.
Service was
Greatest
good.
music.
2, 1. Tequila. Tequila. Oh, I missed it.
Yeah.
Oh my, and just like old Americana. It was great. We had fun. It was a good night.
It's worth the stop if you're in the area and you catch a Mel's. Check it out. Thanks for joining us. We had fun test driving, dreaming, learning, and glad you
Yes.
could come along with us.
And that is the key. Every time we go out, we learn something new about what is to come, and we learn something new about ourselves.
You remember when we first set out and we were shopping rigs and we kind of ruled out the Class A because we thought it was just one big rectangle and it didn't have a sense of space and it wouldn't be enough like our home. And we were like, oh, we got to go with the fifth wheel for sure because everyone gets their own room. And now we're so focused on what the rig allows us to do, we almost don't care. It's like, does everybody have a place to
Really,
sleep?
truly.
Can we cook? Can we store stuff?
Right.
Good, let's go.
It's like colors don't matter, and I'm like, we're gonna be outside.
Yeah, exactly.
So, and that is cool. It is cool to see how we've transformed and how personal space really isn't such a big deal to everyone anymore. And I mean everyone, even my teenager.
Right. So if you want personal space, let's get some exercise. Let's go for a ride, a walk, go to a campfire, get outside. That's wonderful.
We'll get back to you in a couple of months and we'll see how that's working out.
Why did we pick this Class A?
Yeah. But truly, it's about being together, and we get to be together more in this model and not have to drive separately. And that was a real stressor.
Yeah,
So
no doubt.
that's why we're looking at this.
Thanks for joining us. We hope you come back next week.
Yeah.
This was a lot of fun. We hope you enjoyed sharing the story with us.
Yeah, and in a couple of weeks, we'll have some big news. So
Yeah,
stay tuned.
thanks. Bye.
Love my family.
It's the sugar talking.
What is that, Mercy? Is that a gong?
You're just trying to make memories